The dawn of civilization. Primitive. Dangerous. Exciting. The handwriting is on the wall. If the human race is ever going to amount to anything, it needs
the most civilized caveman I have ever seen.
Look who's come out of his cave.
Hey everyone, this is James from the Cave Dweller Music Podcast. I am joined by my co-host Brendan, and today we have Ben Ricketts for the solo thrash metal project Acid Mass. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Great to have you on.
Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime. For anyone who doesn't know the project, do you want to just tell people a little bit about what it's all about?
Sure. So it is, where to start? It's kind of just my brainchild that was heavily influenced by, bands like Sodom and Bathory and Bulldozer and all that kind of stuff that I've been listening to for years. And I wanted to make music like that, and I just couldn't really get the people together to do it. And so I just started doing it by myself, and it actually turned into something rather cool, I think.
Definitely. And how long have you been playing music for?
Since I was 9 or 10, I think. My dad was a guitar player, so I was always around it, and I was always messing around with his guitars when I was a kid and breaking his strings and all that kind of cool stuff. And then they got me a drum set. My parents got me a drum set, which was actually like my first instrument. I've just been kind of going hard at it since then.
So you play everything in there. It's not programmed or anything like that.
So actually, that's the funny part, that people that know me and hear this stuff are like, "What are you doing?" I actually do program the drums and all the Acid Mass stuff.
I thought it seemed like it seems really good. Like it's got a lot of personality to it still, but added a slight clue.
Yeah. I mean, I try to make it sound as natural as possible, but I mean, it's not real, so it's not going to sound real,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But just the way I do all my tracking and stuff is just in an apartment, so it's pretty hard to track drums in an apartment.
Yeah. Neighbors would hate you.
Yeah, they definitely would. And I'm actually trying to retire from drums because I have like some carpal tunnel stuff in my right wrist that makes it kind of difficult at this point. But
yeah, that's rough. My wife has that. She played cello for years, and tendonitis is her thing though, but it definitely does wear on you over time.
Yeah, it can be rough.
I had got it when I was playing football and doing a lot of bicycling. And I was like, all of a sudden, just like, why can't I use my ankles like I should? Like, what is going on here?
Yep.
Sucks.
Yeah, I'll try to play drums I'll get about 10 minutes in, and then my right hand will just involuntarily turn into a fist, and I can't hold the stick properly or anything. It sucks.
I heard tonic water helps with something like that. I might be wrong, but
interesting.
Really?
It could be something it might help with the lactic acid or something like that. And I don't know.
Interesting.
Don't quote me. I'm not a doctor.
He was a chef though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing.
Basically.
Food doctor.
I was about
Exactly.
to say the food doctor.
Yeah, doctor for food. Food goes in your body, and that makes you healthy. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
It all connects. So, as far as your sound goes, who are you influenced by? I hear a couple of different things in there.
I mean, obviously, the big ones like Slayer and early Metallica and Megadeth and stuff like that. I realize now after, I don't make it a habit of going back and listening to the stuff I've put out, but anytime I have heard it, I do hear a lot more Slayer than I meant to put into it, but I think it's cool that it comes out like that.
Yeah, I heard it for sure. I mentioned that in my review. There's definitely some serious Slayer influences, and I don't know if it was intentional, but I got some Toxic Holocaust vibes too.
Yeah, I mean, Joel's a huge influence too. I mean, especially in the context of what this project is, just being a one-man thing,
Yeah.
Stuff like that, and like I mentioned a little bit ago, Sodom's a huge influence.
Nice.
And Bathory, and just all the evil side of thrash, you know what I mean? That's just always drawn me into it, and I can't escape it, and I don't want to.
Good. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Are you
There's a lot of punk influence as well, but
sure. Are you a fan at all of Aura Noir? I just rediscovered them today after like a couple of years, and I forgot how great they were.
Yeah, I've liked what I've heard, but I'm honestly not super familiar with them.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of the same for me. But every time I hear them, I'm like, damn, these guys are good. I should listen to them more, and then forget to do it.
Yeah, right.
Brendan, we'll be seeing them at MDF. We'll also be seeing Sodom twice in like 5 days.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to that Chicago show for sure.
Oh, sick. Okay,
because
nice.
I want to see Dismember as well.
Yeah. They're one of the headliners at the festival. The lineup's like pretty stacked this year again.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just over this past weekend, not to stray too far off topic, but all my friends, for the most part, were down at Hell's Heroes and
nice.
Posting videos of Sodom and stuff, and I was just like at home, like, oh man, But October, it's okay. I'll be seeing them in October. Definitely a bucket band.
Is it a couple of? It's like a few bands in October playing that Chicago sideshow, right?
Yeah, it's Nunslaughter, Dismember, and Sodom, which is just an insane lineup.
We saw Nunslaughter at the last MDF, and they were awesome.
Yeah, they were good time.
They were the one, Brendan, we were hanging out next to their vocalist in the pit, and we didn't realize it was him until he got on stage. And we're like, oh, shit. That was the
that was they're like they're a good band, man. They have a shit ton of albums out. And, they have a lot of work. They do a lot of stuff. But like their stage presence and stuff was fun too, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
waving
the fucking flags and shit and just getting all like just into it, They embrace it. It's fucking awesome.
For sure. Yep. Ohio, man, there's something in the water up north in Ohio because there's so many just insanely good bands that have come out of Cleveland over the years, and that's where Nunslaughter is from,
Yeah.
And then Crucified Mortals is from up there. It's just the metal scene up there is bonkers.
The whole Midwest, man. There's so much good underground stuff that like people just gloss over. Like our site does what we used to do. I haven't known in a while is like a theme week each month where we look at a different region or country. And probably that music for the whole week. We did like a Midwest one. I found so much good stuff digging through there.
Yeah, man, it's kind of wild. It's just an explosion that has sort of happened over the last, 5 or 10 years. It's really awesome to see,
Right, especially like it's like a lot of really like powerful dissonant death metal stuff coming out of there too.
Yeah, that's less in my wheelhouse, but I am familiar. Are you guys familiar with the Cincinnati band Faith Extractor?
No.
Yeah, that's some of my favorite death metal to come out of anywhere in a long time, and that's actually a buddy of mine named Ash. He does that not all by himself, but for the most part, it's just him. And man, that shit rips. It's insane.
It's with an X, right? The Faith Extractor.
Yeah, right.
Cool. I found it. I'm gonna check this out after this call. That looks sick. Album art's amazing.
Yeah, the shit's so good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'm in San Diego, so I'm pretty lucky to get a lot of stuff down here too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, the biggest claim to fame for a lot of people is that we have cattle decapitation.
Right.
They're fine.
Yeah.
I like some of this stuff a lot, but they've changed a lot over the years, so they've kind of lost me a little bit. But what was I going to ask you? As far as this project, you mentioned before we started recording that it's studio only at this point.
Yeah, at the moment, yeah. Hoping to change that here. I really want to play some shows by the end of this year, and I think it's definitely on the horizon and it's doable. It's just trying to find a band of mercenaries, for lack of a better term, sit down and take the time to learn the songs, and then we have to meet up and practice the songs. It would be different if, this was like a full 4 or 5 person band and we all wrote the songs together and nobody had to sit down and learn them. You know what I mean? It would be a lot easier. And anybody that I would want to play with is already also in like 3 other bands, so it's like scheduling with people is rough. But I don't know. I'm working really hard to make it work because I want to get out there and play around the Midwest at least,
Yeah. Where's your hometown venue?
Right now we have most of the metal shows are either at a place called the Northside Tavern or another place called Legends. Outside of that, there's a couple other venues that sporadically will have metal or punk shows, but those are the two main ones that come to mind.
Nice.
As far as like local bands go, you got anyone else around you that we should check out? Any local stuff that people probably wouldn't have heard of?
Yeah. I mean, there's like a lot of really good punk bands here. So there's a band called Primitive Impulse that I dig a lot. A band called Butcher's Dog, I think, is great. And yeah, man, there's also. Sorry, my cat is attacking my leg and completely distracting me. I'm very sorry.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, so those are my two favorite local bands. And there's a newer metal band that just started around here called Sorcerot. It's
That's a sick
pretty
name.
rad.
That's a really cool name.
Yeah.
I can't believe no one thought of that yet.
I know. It's crazy. Yeah, they're pretty killer too.
You got to get in early with those band names. It's like when you look at like Death. It's like,
yeah,
it's like, oh, come
nailed
on,
it on the timing there.
Yeah, exactly. Got in just in time. I'm surprised no one in the 80s, like earlier 80s for thrash chose that. It's such like a obvious one.
I know. It's wild. Yeah, he really just right time, right place with that name.
Yeah.
I lucked out with my name too. Actually, there's like no other bands called Acid Mass.
Yeah, that's sick. I can't believe that as well. That's like such a cool name that no one's thought to use until now.
Yeah,
it flows. It's it's good.
Yeah, it's a great band name. I can't take credit for it. I will fully admit that I stole it from a Wraith song. It's the title of one of their songs.
They're great.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And if you ever want to transition into like a doom stoner band, you can always do that too. You don't have to change the name.
Yep, exactly.
Works for both.
Yeah, right. Just total Candlemass worship.
Exactly. Yes. I saw them live for the first time, and they were like a bucket list band for me. And I was like, I'd never been so excited for a band, I don't think, and I was so disappointed.
Really?
Yeah, they brought back their original vocalist, and he was just really old, and he just did not have the vocal power anymore. And I was just because they had Rob Lowe before that, and I absolutely love Rob Lowe. I think that kind of ruined it. Just like I wasn't expecting to see the original dude. And I was like, But also they were just kind of old on stage and didn't move around much. And what made it worse was the band that opened for them was like this young up and coming band who had like an explosive amount of energy live. And then like to go from
it's a hard transition.
Yeah, that to them. I was like, oh man. I don't want to show them because like that makes some of my favorite music ever, but that was just such a disappointing experience.
That's a bummer. I think the lineup's a little different now because they also just played Hill's Heroes, and the videos I saw they were killer. Well, they're definitely a bucket list band for me too. Like that first record is some of my favorite metal ever written.
It's great. Instrumentally, I love that. I just never got into his vocals as much as Messiah's or Rob's. Each to their own though. They're all different. Like I know people love that first album vocal style, but it's just not my preference. But also, like I definitely see them because like it could have also been like I think we were the last location on the whole tour. They might have just been like a little burned out.
Right.
Yeah. So, have you guys seen anyone, Ben and Brendan, that was like you were super stoked for and they kind of let you down?
Modest Mouse.
Oh, that's rough. They're great. I like them.
I like them. I thought it was a good band. You know, I mean, I like back in the day, like in 2000s, you know, I was like really into it. You know, I was like, what is this? Like, this is great. It's so dumb and happy and I love it. And then, then I had a chance to see him live and it sucked.
Oh,
I was like, well, it was like it basically was like they set up and broke down their entire set to play a new song. You know what I mean?
That's weird.
I was like, I felt like it just didn't really flow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they didn't like just go from song into song and song. It was like, oh, I'm going to go put down this massive big bass and I'm going to pick up this cello instead. and now I'm gonna, you know what I mean? And then like, oh, yep, we're position that over there, and then they're like, then they play the song, and then it's like,
what year was this?
God, I don't know.
Because their later stuff's nowhere near as good as their early stuff. Like I have their first 2 albums on vinyl, and they're excellent, but I wouldn't buy the later stuff.
No, it was like definitely. God, I can't remember the year. It was. Well, it was pre 2010.
Okay, that would have. I know exactly what period that was. That I know which album they brought out around then. The stuff before that album, that was like their last decent album. But the stuff before that was way better. It was like completely unhinged, which was great. Ben, what about you?
Yeah, also pre 2010. I'm struggling to remember the year, but Thin Lizzy, man, I was really, really excited to see them. You know,
dude, they were let down.
They were, because what I had heard was that the lineup was almost all original, except for obviously Phil Lynott wasn't there, but his son was singing for them.
Okay.
I was like, that would be killer to see with Judas Priest too. So I was like, there's no way this show's not going to be killer.
Yeah.
And it was not Phil's son singing for them, and the guy that was singing for him sounded like the guy from Creed. I was like, dude, what the fuck is this? You know? Yeah, so that was a big bummer. I still had a good time. You know, I had a couple beers in me, so I was still like, you know, whatever. But it was a pretty big letdown, honestly.
That's rough.
Yeah. Judas Priest was killer though, so whatever.
Yeah, I've seen them live. They're excellent. And have you heard the new album, by the way?
I have. I listened to a few songs off of it, and it's like,
that's great.
Yeah, it's insane.
He can still like hit those Painkiller highs, and like he's like 72.
I know it's
wild. And they wrote some like absolutely killer riffs too. So it's like they like put all those other older bands that were having comebacks to absolute shame.
Yeah, it's like them and Merciful Fate, man. Like I saw Merciful Fate last year, the year before, and that was like crushed it. You know, like King still totally got it, and
that's awesome.
He's a bucket list for sure.
They're a bucket list band for me too. So is just King by himself. I haven't seen either. I'd love to though.
I got lucky enough to see both within like a few years of each other, and I mean, both were amazing. Like one of my buddies, Henry, he always gets mad at me because I don't really like King Diamond's solo stuff very much.
Okay,
and I don't dislike it, but it's just not Merciful Fate, you know?
Yeah.
But man, his live show was bonkers. It was so good.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm gonna do whatever I can. I need to see him before he retires eventually.
Yeah.
He's
I don't think that dude's gonna stop until he dies.
That's true. That his Merciful Fate's music is definitely better overall, but I really like a couple of those like earlier King albums. Like I think The Eye is my favorite, and then like them both really good. I just like the concepts, like really cool concept albums.
Right.
Back to your music again. I know that you mentioned before we recorded that you have something else coming up, but it's a little bit secretive. Can you tell us a little bit about what it is?
Yeah, I mean it's a follow-up full-length record to Agonizer. You know, it's going to be out sometime in the summer. The recording quality is quite a bit better, which is something that when I hear the songs from Agonizer, I'm like, man, because I'm learning how to do all this stuff on the fly as well. Like I have no recording experience, so I'm just kind of like trial by fire. You know what I mean?
That sounds great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought it was good for sure. Wow. I like Christ Crusher. That was a great time.
Man, my favorite song on that record.
It is. It's really good. It fucking crushes.
Thank you.
It is. It's so good.
Oh yeah. But the new one's 11 tracks, and I think it's so far the best stuff that I've written. You know, I'm really, really excited for people to hear it. I've sent a song or two to the labels that'll be releasing it, and they're hyped about it. So it's I'm stoked, man.
Do you have any? Is it all new songs, or any of them from Upon the Knife, or?
Nope, it is all new songs.
Nice.
Yeah, all brand new. You know, we were talking about Candlemass a minute ago. There may or may not be kind of a weird left field homage to Candlemass on there. I can't confirm that, but
awesome.
You know,
that's sick.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
Don't worry, it's still Thrash, I promise.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Brendan, I know I've asked a lot of questions, so I'll let you talk for a little bit.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. So we just we're talking about Christ Crusher. Is your favorite song? Is that your favorite song to play live of all time, or?
Well, that's a tricky question because we haven't played it live yet because I haven't really been able to get with anybody to play any of these songs yet. But that riff is one of my favorite riffs to play for sure.
Yeah, it's mean.
Yeah, and I think that's my favorite song overall on Agonizer, but my favorite song to play from that record is Mental Hell because that riff's just so fun to play. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm really looking forward to getting with some people to play these live.
Yeah, we have to send out a 911 to everybody. Like, who wants to play Blackened Thrash?
Right.
You know, people should definitely catch a liking to it. You know, so I wish I played guitar. I'd be like, hell yeah, man, let's fucking do it, or smash some drums. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to find as a drummer, man.
Yeah, it seems to be like for everybody everywhere. You know,
yep.
There's like
you got to find a guy with a baseball
just
bat that can hit a keg.
Right. I mean, as long as you can keep rhythm, right?
Yeah, whatever works. I mean, this is the first band I've ever, band in quotes, you know, but this is the first thing that like drums hasn't been my main thing because around here there's, you know, most of my previous bands have been like hardcore punk, like D-beat stuff. And there was like me and at the time, one other guy that was playing drums. So we were just by default, we were in all the bands, you know? And I never really got to step out from behind the drums. And I've been playing guitar just as long, you know, but I'm really excited because this is kind of like I said earlier, my dad was a guitar player. He passed when I was younger, but he was a guitar player. So like being able to, I don't want to say like showcase my guitar skills because that sounds insanely conceited. That's not what I mean. Like, it's just fun, man. It's fun to be playing guitar and being like, hey, this is me playing guitar. What do you think? You know,
you're showcasing a great skill of yours, right? Like, you should be proud of that. You know?
Yeah.
That's definitely sweet. I think too, like it's tough. Like, you know, you gotta try and like do all of those things by yourself. You know what I mean? And then like, you know, finding the right people and doing that. I think you can definitely do it. You know, but
yeah. You know, real quick, I want to back up for a second because I'm an idiot. You were asking about local bands, and one slipped my mind entirely because I'm in the band. A band called Castless that's been around here for a while. I just joined them on bass pretty recently, but they're definitely one of my favorite local bands too. So I was hyped to be able to jump in with them. I mean, they're all old friends of mine, so definitely check them out as well.
Yeah,
awesome.
That doesn't count as self-promotion, right?
Yeah,
because I haven't been in the band for very long.
We're all about self-promotion.
We brought you on here to self-promote, so please do.
That's fair. That's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair.
Safe spacing for self-promotions.
Safe spacing. Sound like a parking lot. What have you been listening to lately yourself? Is there anything new stood out to you?
Man, the new Grave Ripper record has been on repeat a lot since it came out.
Right.
Those guys are so talented. Corey's a pretty good friend of mine, and that's insane to me, you know, because I was a Grave Ripper fan before I met him, and it's just weird how that worked out. But dude, that record's crushing. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like I don't know, man. I only want to admit this because it's embarrassing, but most of the time I don't really. I'm listening to podcasts more than anything lately, which is unusual for me, but that's just what it's been lately.
What have you been listening to?
There's a podcast called The Basement Yard that is just like two guys that just fucking wreck each other for an hour, and it's it's the funniest thing I've ever heard in my life. So I don't know. I think sometimes I feel like after I spend a long period of time working on music, I like just kind of zone out and don't listen to music for a little bit. And I like just got done with the second record, so it's like music has been, when I'm not at work, it's like and even most of the time at work, music is the only thing on my mind,
Yeah.
So
no, you need a palate cleanser.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like Brendan, you said that when you were a chef, you used to come home and never want to cook.
Yeah, like exactly. I just like spent like the last 10 hours like over communicating and making 300 plus meals or whatever it may be, or like preparing to get that kind of stuff done, you know what I mean? And it's just like, yeah, it's a lot. So then it's like when I come home, it's like I don't want to do that. I don't want, or like my wife does a lot of like crisis work and whatnot, and I'm like, hey, what do you want for dinner? And she's just like, because now I'm not a chef anymore, so I love cooking. So she's just like, I made hard decisions all day. I don't want to make any, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, I got you. So, you know what I mean? And so I get it, it's like you have to separate yourself from that kind of stuff. Like otherwise it just consumes you, and the thing that you love becomes a thing that kills you,
Yeah, it feels like it becomes a chore if you're not careful,
Yeah.
And like I spend a lot of time for work driving, so it's a lot of time to fill dead air, you know what I mean? So yeah, podcasts have been great for that.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys who listens to history podcasts, so that's fun.
Yeah, are you familiar with Omnibus?
No.
Oh man, that's like that's the other podcast I listen to regularly. It's just like Ken Jennings, the guy that won Jeopardy and hosted Jeopardy for a while.
Yeah.
Oddly.
Okay.
And this guy, John Roderick, that used to be in the band Harvey Danger.
Oh, I know Harvey Danger.
It's a super weird mix of people, but they just like revisit like weird one-off underreported historical events and kind of deep dive on them, and it's really interesting, some of the stuff they talk about. I love that one. What's
it called? Omnibus?
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out. That sounds good.
Yep. And it's funny too, the whole premise is that like they're recording a time capsule for after the apocalypse.
Okay.
It's pretty great.
That's awesome. And how long are the episodes? Is it like one story per episode, or is it multiple stories per episode?
Yeah, it's like, I think they're about an hour, a little over an hour, and It's just one story.
Nice, that's perfect. That's like super digestible.
Yeah. Other than that, I've been listening to a lot of Blue Oyster Cult and Rocky Erickson. Those are two things I always fall back on.
They just released a new song, didn't they? Blue Oyster Cult?
Oh, I have no idea, actually.
I think they did. I'm going to double check that. I might be wrong, but
I didn't even know they're making music still.
And
oh wait, no, of course they are. They did those. I just remember they did that amazing album not long ago. That was like came out of nowhere and surprised everyone.
Yeah, man, they got a couple singles out.
Interesting.
So they did a couple last year, and then they did 2 this year so far.
What's that album called?
Yeah, man. So like they have "Don't Come Running" and "So Supernatural's" new tracks, and then last year they did a album "Screams Live." And
but 2020 is what I'm thinking of. The Symbol Remains. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, that record's pretty good actually.
Yeah,
that's like the first newer record of theirs I've heard.
That was the first one they've done since 2001, I believe, like full length wise.
Yeah.
Then
they just re-released their 50th anniversary one.
Oh yeah, the self-titled record.
Yeah, and then I feel like it was like Magnetic. No, it wasn't Magnetic Eye. It was they do the similar thing. It was Ripple. I think it was Ripple. Released a Blue Oyster Cult tribute for that.
Nice. Yeah, they're like Priest. That's another band that just came back and just with a massive sound and a ton of energy managed to just like beat all the younger bands out.
Right. I've seen Blue Oyster Cult a couple times in the last few years, and man, they still put on a fucking killer show.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're older guys, and that that shows a little bit, but like for their age, they crush.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just like
No,
some of those dudes just have the lasting power. Then you look at people like Vince Neil from Motley Crue, and it's so embarrassing.
Man, I know.
But
it's wild that they even keep trying to force that to happen.
they've had like multiple situations where people have actively booed them at their shows and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
And apparently he can't move on stage and sing at the same time because he doesn't have the breath or stamina to do both. So he has to like stand still the whole time to be able to sing.
They played here a couple of years ago, and I've never seen Motley Crue, and those first 2 records are like some of my favorites, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I couldn't justify spending that amount of money to see him do that.
That's the thing, though. They're charging so much to see them.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're going to charge that much, you have to be able to do like a decent job of the show. You know what I mean? Like otherwise, like why would I do that when I can pay $20 and see some local band with 10 times more like energy and drive than you? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, Brendan, did you already ask about local foods?
I haven't.
There you go.
But we can.
We always do.
Yeah. Where's your favorite spot to get out and get away?
Man, honestly, I'm kind of a homebody, to be honest with you. I don't. That's like my favorite place to go and get away is home. I don't know. Full disclosure, I don't know if I've ever like publicly said this, but I'm a person in recovery, and I spend a lot of time out doing stuff. So now I like really value my solitude and time alone at home.
That's fair.
Yeah, because I don't like go out to bars. I don't do that kind of stuff. Like I go out to shows and stuff, but
yeah. Nice.
I don't drink anymore either, so
nice.
I get it. I still go to bars, but I don't drink. Which that was like it took a while to get you. It's a weird feeling at first.
It is, yeah, it definitely is. But man, the non-alcoholic beer selection these days is out of control.
Yes,
it's awesome.
It's great.
Really,
I found a bunch lately that are so
man.
good.
Yeah, I work for a brewery, and like we've been tossing around the idea of making a non-alc beer, and it's just like
do it.
I don't know, like
it'll sell.
Yeah, well, you should do it, and it's also good to have. Like it's like I don't know. I think it's responsible for places breweries to have one because then they can still have all the clientele they don't drink anymore.
Yeah. Right. So we do like we make CBDs and Delta 9 drinks, and then there's a coffee shop attached to it all with that. So we do like that whole side of like non-alcoholic, but yeah, we don't have like a non-alc beer.
There's definitely a market for it nowadays. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's like, some places they do a great job, and like there's like there's ways you can do it. Like you can like I don't know. Some place was like, hey, you can send it to us and we'll do it for you, and it's like I don't know about that,
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely something we've toyed with.
Yeah, I think it would definitely sell.
What's a good non-alcoholic beer out your way?
Locally, I don't really know of any. There's definitely some breweries here, but I'm not sure that they do any non-alcoholics. But I wouldn't really know because I don't go into I have no reason to go into the brewery. You know what I mean?
Right.
But my favorite non-alcoholic beer is Athletic Free Wave. It's like a super.
That's what I drink.
IPA. Yes, my dude.
How good is that?
Oh my god, it's so good.
The lager's good too.
That's made that's made in Connecticut, I believe, right? Am I wrong on that?
I actually don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. And I also Blue Moon just came out with a non-alcoholic, which is awesome too.
Okay, no, I haven't had that one. I have to check that one out.
It's just nice because it's better than going out to a bar for a show and drinking like 15 Coca-Colas.
That's what I do normally. Yes, exactly. That's what I was doing before I started the non-alcoholic beers.
Yeah, and like sure you can drink water, but like I genuinely like the taste of beer. I just don't like the after effects,
Me too.
So it's really nice to just be able to go and have a beer and all the fun and none of the consequences,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you also don't feel as out of place. Like it feels like you're part of like what
Yeah.
you like. It feels more like you doing what you were doing before,
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
which is nice. I would never do water at a gig, not because I don't know. It just doesn't. It would feel really
Yeah.
weird drinking water
Yeah.
throughout a gig. I did Coke, that was fine, but that's so much sugar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like by the time you leave there, you're like shaking,
Yeah, like 6 Cokes deep.
Yeah.
It's too much sugar.
What about like food wise, like not like social places, but like eating? Is there any good food around?
Yeah.
So, I live in Cincinnati, and we have Cincinnati chili, which is like world famous. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it or not.
No.
So, okay, stay with me. It has chocolate and cinnamon in it, which sounds horrible. And maybe I'm brainwashed because I'm from here, but man, it's so good.
I try it.
The local there's like 2 places, the like hometown places, Gold Star Chili and Skyline Chili. There's like a feud between, people, the fans of Gold Star and fans of Skyline. I'm a Skyline guy, but I'll fight to the death for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like kind of like mole sauce, It's like
Yeah.
chocolate and
Yeah.
spicy, It's like
Wait,
Yeah, that's
get it?
Brendan, didn't the guys from Soy tell us about this?
Yeah, I think so.
We had another guest, another band on, and I think they said the same thing. They loved the Gold Star one the most.
Yeah, well, I guess we have to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as like
Hang on,
specifically local stuff, there's like a bar restaurant here in the neighborhood I live in called The Comet,
Okay.
and they have like quesadillas and burritos and stuff like that. And I'm not vegetarian, but I've been eating there since I was 17 years old, and I'm 35 now, and I've never had meat there because their tofu is just so insanely good.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's like jerk Caribbean tofu. It's insanely good.
Tofu can be really good if you do it right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I've eaten it a couple times, but maybe I've eaten it in like Chinese food and I didn't know.
You got like different firmnesses as well.
This
There's like soft
chicken
tofu,
tastes like a
hard tofu.
sponge.
Right.
I'm much more a fan of the hard stuff than the soft stuff.
Yeah.
So we're coming up to time. Brendan, do you have any questions you wanted to ask?
Oh yeah. Well, I was gonna ask, who does all your cover art?
Oh, a guy named Sandy Rosalmi. If you want his Instagram to put in the link to this or something, I can send it to you.
Yeah.
Man, his work is just so cool. You know what I mean? Like I've used him for everything, and I plan to continue using him for everything.
Nice. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
great.
It like totally fits the vibe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very
No, it's
very
definitely
black and
great.
thrash.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the cover of Agonizer was not something I had him do. It was just something he had already done, and I was just scrolling through Instagram one day trying to find an artist to like reach out to get a record cover, and I saw that on his page, and I was like, well, fucking that's it,
Yeah.
Like you got a tank, you got a guy with on a cross that's burning, which Christ Crusher fits perfect. It's just and now the if you're looking at the record cover, there's the guy on the right side with like the skeleton and like the whip and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of at this point become like the mascot. He's like on the cover of the next one as well.
Oh, sweet. It's Thrash, man. Thrash always has like the best mascots.
Yeah, no doubt.
Thrash and heavy metal.
Yeah. Sandy's great, man. He's killer.
Oh yeah.
That's sick.
No, it really is great.
Anything else you want to ask Brendan before I ask that the episode question I ask every time?
Well, if you could pick any musicians out of a hat, who would you have play for you?
Oh my God. Just like full free range whoever in the world.
I mean, you're pulling out of a hat, so it's all kind of magic.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna have to say Tom Angel Ripper from Sodom on bass. Nick Menza from Megadeth on drums. Man, guitar. I'm gonna have to go Sodom again and take Frank Blackfire from Sodom. That would be my dream live. I don't know if that's the question you're asking, but I just wanted to bury it for a second.
You answered it perfect.
Okay, cool.
Hell yeah. I'm good now, James. Yeah.
Yeah, sweet. So I asked this question of everyone that comes on the show. Take as long as you need to answer it. If you were stranded on a desert island and you had a solar-powered Discman and 3 CDs to listen to until you got rescued, what would you want them to be?
The easy one is Rust in Peace by Megadeth.
Nice.
That's like my favorite metal record of all time. Let's see. Probably Fire of Unknown Origin by Blue Oyster Cult.
Okay, that's a good one.
And Farewell to Kings by Rush.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Good selection.
Thank you.
Some people answer straight away like you. Some people need a minute. They're like, "Oh man, what do I listen to at the moment?"
I stumble and stammer.
Yeah. I mean, Rust in Peace is like, I could listen to that record on repeat every day until the day I die and not get sick of it, I think.
I always toss up between that and Euthanasia.
Yeah, Euthanasia is a great record too, man. Some of their like later
underrated
stuff, it's different, but it's still really good.
Yeah, it's way more. It's a lot more melodic, but it's really goddamn catchy.
Yeah, no doubt. Okay, so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Between Megadeth and Metallica, what side do you fall on?
Megadeth.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I love Ride the Lightning, but overall, like Megadeth is a better band in my opinion. They had more consistency.
Yep, and I think they stayed like metal. They stayed more true to their sound for longer.
Yeah, I also think Dave has a more unique voice than James.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, not to mention his guitar playing is out of control.
Right, exactly. Like, he's a weird dude. But you can't hold, half the metal scene is weird.
Yeah. But I actually just saw a quote from him that was something about the key to success is not being like a prick or something. And I'm like, well, that doesn't check out coming from you at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, as a huge prick, but
do you remember when he was like talking about he did the interview where he was talking about like what he would do if he became president?
No.
I'm gonna have to find it and send it to you. It's hilarious. He's got like all these like weird policies. Like, I can't remember what it was. He was talking about like the key to saving America was opening more of some factory or some like chain store. And he's like, I'm going to put them in every city. But I can't remember. I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
There's the clip where I think it's the week that Kurt Cobain killed himself or something, where Dave's getting interviewed and they're like, oh, what do you think about this Kurt Cobain thing? And Dave's like, I think he was a good shot.
Oh,
like, dude, Jesus.
Was he still on
the guy just doesn't give a fuck.
Was he still on the drugs at that point?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he changed a lot after he got off, and then he got like straight into religion after that.
Yeah, which is kind of a bummer, but I have my opinions on that, but that's neither here nor there. So if you ever happen to have Wraith on here, you need to tell them that Megadeth is the better band, because I always argue with those dudes about it, and I'm losing the battle, so I need some help with that.
Do you think it's Metallica?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. And I love the first 4 Metallica records. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know, man. Megadeth's superior, I think.
I think it is. I really like I think Slayer's better than both personally. That's my.
Oh yeah, same. I also agree with that statement.
I'll go Megadeth. If I'm going Metallica, I'll go Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All. I was solid. And then even like Black Album has a few tracks I really like. But after that, they lost me. I haven't really liked anything they've done since then.
But no Kill 'Em All?
Kill 'Em All was never I never clicked for me.
Oh man, that's like easily my favorite record of theirs. It's just like the perfect mix of metal and punk, I think. You know,
it's a solid album. I've listened to it a bunch of times, but like I just don't. It's not something I really want to listen to this today. Type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt yeah, that's why I love like the first Danzig album. It's like,
Oh,
That's a
God,
great
yeah.
album.
it's like it's so good, you know. It's
Perfect album.
Did you guys catch that tour recently?
Nah, I still haven't seen him either. That's another person I need to see live.
Yeah, I got to see that show. It was a bucket list. He did that whole first record, and it was unbelievable.
Ah, that's sick.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a lot of fun.
He's so funny, dude. Like I love all of the like memes about him and like fake lore and stuff. Like he's become like a
taking
character.
it all too serious.
He gets so mad about it.
Yeah.
He's an interesting guy.
He is. Remember when he got knocked out by a fan?
I do. I do. It's one of the greatest videos the internet ever produced.
I know. I love that video.
Because I mean, as a Danzig fan, like I love the guy, but like he is a cocky prick, and sometimes that's just what needs to happen, you know?
Yeah, he was being a total dick to that guy as well. Like,
yeah,
it was deserved.
Yep.
Anyway, that kind of brings us to time. But before we wrap up, do you want to just tell people if they want to support the project, buy albums, listen to it? What's the best place to do that?
So all of my stuff is on Bandcamp. I'm unfortunately I'm sold out of the Agonizer cassettes. I still have some CDs left. I think Morbid and Miserable still has some CDs left. But yeah, man, everything's just through Bandcamp at this point. So, you know, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, I have all that kind of good stuff. And any support is super appreciated. You know, like, I don't know if I said it or not, but I didn't expect this little project to go anywhere further than my apartment, you know? So the fact that this is even a thing right now I'm like beside myself, you know?
It's well deserved, dude.
It's awesome, man.
You deserve it.
Hell yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, everyone listening at home, tune in next week and we will have another guest for you. And Ben, thank you so much for coming on. It's been great chatting with you.
Hey, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Anytime.
Hell yeah, man.